Welcome everybody to another very special episode of Now Hear This. My very special guests this evening are Mike Martinez and Big D's. You guys have a new project out, No Respect Part 2. Before we get into that, let's get to know you guys a little bit more. Where were you guys born and raised?
You want to go?
Okay. I was born in New Haven, Connecticut, raised all around Connecticut, but I lived in Boston for a couple years, and I've been in Florida since 2011, Northeast Florida.
Yeah, I was born North Shore, Mass, pretty much like 10 minutes north of Boston, and I've been within that area my whole life.
Right. As far as growing up, take us back to you guys' teenage years growing up in those cities.
You start, Dese.
All right, I say I was in a sports man. I was played baseball throughout high school. I always liked hip hop. You know what I mean? That was it, man. I kind of I'd say my teenage years. Unlike most rappers, I stayed out of a lot of trouble playing sports. So, you know.
Very dope.
I got into a lot of trouble when I was a teenager. I was a druggie. I've been clean now for 5 years off everything, but growing up, I was typical stoner kid in high school and experimented with pretty much everything under the sun. And I was on hard drugs before I graduated high school, unfortunately. But that's just how I came up. I was into graffiti. I was in bands and started rapping uh, around my junior and a senior year. I started rapping. And that was like my introduction into putting out hip hop.
Very dope. While you guys were, developing your skills and, all that, who were some of your earlier musical influences?
I say for me, I, the first I always say this, but my sister, I had older sisters, and they were into like rock music, and then they were probably 8 years, 7 years older than me, both of them, and then once I heard the parents just don't understand on I'm probably like first grade. That was it. I mean, I saw that video and I was like, "What is this?" You know what I mean? I was since then. Since then, it's just been nothing but hip hop. You know what I mean?
Right.
But as far as rhyming, Big L, Sean Price, Wu Tang, you know what I mean? DMX, Cannabis, just to name a few.
Right.
My early hip hop stuff would be like Wu Tang, Boot Camp, like Helter Skelter Nocturnal is one of my favorite albums of all time. I used to watch like Rap City with Joe Claire like all the time when I was younger, like the Saturday morning countdowns and stuff like that. Lost Boys, Legal Drug Money was like a big album for me. Fuji's The Score. Um, just like 90s hip hop, man. There was so much good stuff out there. Like it's impossible to name everything, but I absorbed it all.
Right. We'll start with you, Mike. Talk a little bit about how you got into producing.
Well, I was a rapper first. Since like 2002, I've been recording and releasing music. Like back then, it was on like SoundClick, like way back then. And I was always a rapper first. Like I mentioned, I was, had a drug problem in the past, and I used to get beats from all different producers, and then at a particular low point in my addiction, like people just stopped messing with me, and rightfully so. And obviously, I still had something to say, stuff to talk about, so I needed to figure out how to get beats. So I started making beats on my laptop with just what I had, like a cracked version of FL Studio when I started. And at first, I hated it, and it was really hard. And then once I like got the urge to sit down and make beats, I fell in love with it, and now I consider myself a producer first.
About yourself, Big D's. At what point did you start getting into MCing and taking it serious?
Um, well, I had my boys rhyming first in my high school. It was probably like I don't know, 4 or 5 kids. They would be rhyming at like the school dances or whatever. And then and I started on the low before I really, showed them I wanted to get good. And so, but I'd say like 2001, I think I had my first battle, and I battled this dude, etc., and he beat me. That was like the third round or whatever. But then there was a Guru Jazzmatazz show. They had an open mic at so I got my revenge. I beat him, and then once I beat him, me and him kind of like like fucking formed a group. You know what I mean? And shout out to etc. I've been riding with him for a long ass time. We would pretty much. It was at UMass Amherst, so we pretty much link up every day, smoke a bunch of weed, and just fucking freestyle for like 2 hours, throwing each other words. It was like rhyming school, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
What can you guys tell me about the early hip hop scenes? Where you're from. What were they like, and how are they? These days.
I'm gonna
Uh,
say,
oh, go ahead.
yeah, all right. I'm gonna say like Boston. I'd say before, like, see, I was in a group B3 with etc. and the I, who now Skip Whitman. So we had a 3 guy group, and I'll say before we remember before we did like our first show in Boston, there was already like a wave of talent in Boston. So it was like, I don't know if you're familiar with Acrobatic,
Oh yeah,
um,
Mr.
Esoteric of Zarface,
Mr. Liff
uh,
out there.
yeah, Mr. Liff, Schizophrenics. I remember we did our first show, it was at the Western Front in Cambridge. And there was like Boston rappers that we looked up to there, and we got a great reaction. So that was pretty big for us, first show, and kind of got accepted. But I wish we came out like 3 years earlier than all. You know what I mean? We kind of missed that first wave of Boston hip hop.
Right.
Yeah.
About you, Mike? What was that early scene like for you?
In Connecticut, where I grew up, there was a lot of underground hip hop. The venues were kind of few and far between. It wasn't like in Boston, because I was in Boston too, and there was more places for like MCs to perform and stuff like that than there were in Connecticut. Like you had like the Webster Underground in Hartford, Toad's Place. If you were bigger, you could get in there. That's in New Haven, closer to where I'm from. But more than likely, they're gonna put you in the smaller club, the Lily's Pad next door to it, because there wasn't like a big draw for hip hop, even though there was a lot of hip hop around there. There was no real like big talent. Like Apathy obviously is like the king of Connecticut. And there was a few people here and there, but overall, and this is just honest, like everybody hated on each other. Like there was no like support, and Boston was the same way. In my experience when I was out there, like there's not a lot of people trying to like lift each other up, like you see with a lot of like West Coast scenes and stuff like that. It was like crabs in a barrel. You know what I mean? Like no one was trying to elevate. They were trying to bring the next guy down, is what I noticed. Um, Down here where I'm at in Florida now, there's really no scene in my area. So I'm usually playing shows with like bands and stuff, and I'm like the rapper at the show or whatever. But in Orlando, they have like a pretty good scene, it looks like, and they actually support each other down there, which is dope.
Very dope. Now, how did you guys meet?
You want to take this?
Well, so I'm also in a group called the Dunners, and we were recording a lot with. Our producer was Billy Blaze, an absolute beast. He was boys with Mike, and I honestly don't remember Mike back then. I don't know. I smoke a lot of weed, but anyways, years later, I seen this dude on Facebook in a suit making beats every Sunday before church, and I was like, this dude's make some dope beats. So then we pretty much we started with one song, and then a week later, I think we decided to just bang out a project. And he works at such a similar pace that I do. We're both like, we can get out a project in like 2 weeks.
Right.
Yeah.
Dope. Now, you guys got approximately 10 projects over the past 3 years. Is that correct?
2.5 years.
2.5.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Talk a
we
little bit about that creative process and how those projects come out at you know such a speedy you guys don't take too long to work together and stuff comes out. So talk about that creative process.
I got on a kick a few years ago of making a beat, at least a beat a day. And I've been doing that for about 4 years now, like dedicated at least a beat a day because I'll post like a video every day. And doing that, I just have mad beats. So when we linked up and we were like, let's do a project, I sent him, I think it was like 12 beats or something, and he picked maybe 9 of them. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I sent him some more. We rounded out a 10-song project. And then it just came together really easily. So then after that, I just sent him more beats and he'd be sending me back songs. And it was just like, it was easy. You know what I mean? Like he'll rap to anything. Like he could kill any kind of beat. Like he does topics, hooks. Like Dese does not get the respect that he deserves, thus the album title.
Thank you.
But he just can do so many different things. And like I have a lot of different style of beats that I do. So I just throw him mad stuff. And then as far as like putting the projects together, like when we started out, we'd like set a number and be like, okay, 10 songs, that's this project. And then move on to the next set of songs. So like our first few projects were just like chronologically what we were working on. And then I think just to keep it like fresh, like around the fourth, maybe or fifth project, I just put all the songs that we had into one big folder. And then we like cherry picked like the stuff for the next project. And then with No Respects, we had the first No Respect, and then this one we had the concept, which I think that was the first one where we really like said like a concept for the project, like and stuck with it. So we had like themes, loose themes on other projects, like Tommy DeVito is kind of like loosely like a Goodfellas like reference and stuff like that, but it wasn't really about that. um No Respect, we actually like honed in and we're like, this is gonna be like self-deprecating, like kind of sad but funny, like Rodney Dangerfield. So we did that with that one, but other than that, we just put tracks down and whatever is dope, like we group it together and then we go on to the next one. We're just constantly sending stuff back and forth and working though.
Do you guys ever work together in studio, or is it just back and forth placements?
Yeah, never in the studio. Just he's in Florida, I'm up here. So you know what changed the game for me was shout out to my boy Chow too, because I'm gonna say early 2000s to 2010. You know, I was active in the Boston scene. Then I had my kids. I fell back for like probably 7 years. Put out a project in 2018. But the thing with me was I always had bars. Like even like when I took that hiatus, like I'm the type to like do this for sports. So I'm the type like I had like 40 minutes of verses in the head, like even when I wasn't putting out music. With Chow, the Spire Studio, he pretty much I am pretty much a 80-year-old person with the computer, but he gave me the Spire, taught me how to use it, and then once I was able to record myself at home, you know, next thing you know, I got 15 projects. So if I can figure it out, I mean, anyone can.
Right.
Yeah.
Latest project's called No Respect 2, follow up to 2025's No Respect. Talk a little bit about the Rodney Dangerfield theme to this project.
Yeah, pretty much like if you ever seen a Rodney Dangerfield routine, he's pretty self-deprecating, and it's a similar project to that. Like pretty much, pretty much though. This project, I'd say it's like the working man. That's you know, a creative guy, but you're just stuck in a job you don't want to be doing. You know what I mean? But we gotta provide for the kids. So you know, I'm a like I say, I'm a pretty happy guy. But you know, today I worked in the rain. Monday morning, you know, it'll inspire some tracks like this. I know Mike likes my happier tracks, but
I'm
you,
here for all of it.
yeah, you gotta vent sometimes, you know.
Right. sonically, Mike, is there something that you search for when it comes to the No Respect projects?
No, not really. I kind of leave that to Dese. Like, I'll just send him like the best beats that I have on hand at the moment. Like, Dese is my favorite rapper. I work with a lot of artists, but like, I send the best stuff to Dese. He gets first dibs if he's like, "Oh, that beat's dope." It's his basically. And then I let him go from there. He was kind of in a like depressed kind of mood. It was really, we started the first No Respect the end of last year. Because I remember when I was in the hospital, I was mixing. I was in the hospital last November, and I remember mixing it while I was in there. So we were working on that like towards the end of last year, and he was just sending me back these tracks that were dark and like kind of depressing, but they were funny because he's got bars, he's got punchlines. That's what he's known for. So he's like talking about this serious subject matter, but in a funny way. And that's why I was like, "Yo, this is like Rodney Dangerfield. We should call this No Respect." And like, and we just locked in on that. And then from there, once he was like, "Okay, that's what we're doing," like then he was more focused with the writing. Not that he wasn't before, but now he like has a goal to aim at. So we did that one, dropped it in January, and then like I said, we send stuff back and forth all the time. He continued to send me these like depressing tracks, and I was like, "Oh, okay, all right, so we're just gonna keep doing this then." And we ended up with a second one. So, but as far as like sonically, no, I just send him whatever I think is dope, and he takes it and does what he does with it. So he's
Very
like
dope.
the easiest artist to work with.
Right.
Thank you.
Any guest
Hey,
appearances on this?
yeah, we got Coast LaCastro on there, and Mike himself is dropping a verse on there too.
Very dope.
Yeah.
Let's jump into a few tracks. Just tell me about your creative process and what you were thinking. Word to Mick.
Word to Mick. Uh, that's. I think this could have been the one we did a video for. I think it probably sums up the whole, really hammers home the concept of the album. Just it's another self-deprecating song, but I try to make light of it. You know what I mean? If you can't make fun of yourself, that's what we do.
Right.
Yeah.
Meteor.
Meteor is similar too. I mean, I think them two are like pretty on the similar concept.
Doozy Bats.
Doozy Bad. That's when I get on. That's when I get on my Italian shit right there. So yeah, I got a couple different sides rhyming. I grew up strong Italian, like 100%. I did my Yeah, I never been to Italy, but I did my DNA test. I say I'm more Italian than the people there. It was like 95% Southern Italy. You know what I mean? My mother's all Sicilian. My dad's half Sicilian. I grew up Sunday dinners, all that. So and then I work construction, a lot of old head Italian. So I've always been there.
Right.
Yeah,
Missing Spaghetti.
yeah, missing spaghetti. That's another funny type uh, self-deprecating track. My
That
kids
might
catch a
be
couple. My kids catch a couple strays on that too.
that might be the most self-deprecating track on the album, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Sleeping Cats.
Oh yeah, that's just cats are sleeping because I mean they're sleeping on what we're doing here. I mean, me and Mike putting out, oh jeez, putting out all these projects, and we don't always get the views or listens that I think we're entitled to, but it's I'd say with music now it's like there's just so much volume of music being put out that it's hard to really it's almost like people will see a 60-second clip on Instagram, right?
And that's
and
good enough for
and
them.
that's it they're
Yep.
not gonna a lot of them ain't gonna go check out the whole album, right? So you almost in your head you're like, should I just be putting singles out with videos? Because you know, but then you got like the core fan base that'll hit you up, and their favorite track on the album will be something that you never even thought they would like.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you shot videos for some of these tracks?
We did one for Meteor. I usually do one video per album. You know.
Okay. What's the thought process behind one video per album?
Well, budget wise, and then just just time wise, because I mean, I get between, I don't do this full time. I'm at a 40-hour work week, and then pretty much an Uber driver to my kids' practice every day. So,
Right.
luckily, I think of most of my verses while I'm driving. So, I might have my kids go to basketball practice for an hour, and I could write a song in the car while I'm waiting.
Dope.
Then we drop a lot of projects per year too. Like I think what did we do 3 or 4 last year? Just us two. And then this is our third one of this year already. So I mean that's pretty with one video per project that still keeps you in the people's attention, I think.
Yeah.
Right. Now this project has 15 tracks. What has the feedback been like so far?
Positive. People seem to
Yeah.
really dig it. Yeah, they relate to it. A lot of people talking about like they feel the same way, stuff like that. Dese mentioned a funny thing where he shared Meteor with his mom, and she was like, "Are you okay?" Which is
Yeah.
pretty great.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been. I've heard nothing but positive things. And I'm not like going around, hey, what did you think of this? I'm just like seeing what people are commenting, what people are saying, people that have reached out to me, like, and it's all been positive, which is dope.
Right. Physical copies available or everything streaming?
Just digital right now for this one.
Any plans to tour? I know you said you got, you guys are super busy, 40-hour work week schedules, 2 different places. Any plans in the future to get together for a tour run?
Not a tour in the immediate future, but Mike pretty much got a residency down there, and I gotta get down there and do a show one of these Saturdays.
Yeah, I book shows down where I'm
Yeah.
at. And he knows open door. Anytime he wants to come down, I can get something set up and we'll do a show. But other than that, we're just kind of like embracing the internet. You know what I mean? Like we're able to just broadcast our music to the world through this and platforms like you that like let people know that we're out here. So definitely appreciate that. But as of right now, yeah, that's the focus.
Very dope. Once this project does its thing, what can we expect next from you two?
Well, I think we're in the early stages of Tommy DeVito too. So we got another concept type album. Probably 5 tracks deep on that.
Yeah, I got to look in that folder again.
Yeah.
And we have so like I said, when we changed up our process and I put a bunch of songs into one folder, I still have songs in that folder. And then we started another folder for a sequel to Tommy DeVito, which was our first album. So I'd say we probably have 2.5 projects worth of material like ready to go now. But we're most likely gonna do some new stuff because we like working on new stuff. So we'll do some new stuff, finish up Tommy DeVito too, and then we'll see where we go from there.
Very dope. Outside of working with each other, Mike, any placements for other artists that you're currently working on, and kind of catch us up on some of the artists that you've worked with?
My first like serious placement for me was Big Suge, another Boston legend. And when I got that one, Suge, I sent him the beat in like 2015. He sent me the track back that night. And then I never heard anything about it for like years. And then in 2019, I got a phone call and he was like, hey, we're putting that track on this album. He's like, Primo heard it and he gave it the green light. And I was like, dope. I could quit right now. Like that was good enough for me. You know what I mean? Like that's fire. And then after that, Nems hit me up about an artist, Five Mics. I don't know if you're familiar with Five Mics, another Coney Island dude, and he wanted to use a beat. And when he hit me up about that, that's when I decided to buy an MPC because I was clean by then. I had some money and I always wanted an MPC, and I was like, I better start looking more professional. And then it never happened. I never got the placement, but I'm stoked that I started using the MPC from there because my beats got a lot better, like pretty quickly. But then after that, Flea Lord I think was the next big placement I got. I did a track called Broken Hearted with him and Triz on his album, Ladies and Gentlemen. Actually, it was the anniversary of that album yesterday. Came out in 2022. I just did a project with Straight Paper, who is a lowlife, used to be known as Icon. I ran with Brooklyn Academy. He's down in Orlando. I did a project with G-Fam Black. I'm probably like forgetting important people, but just a lot. Like I'm sending beats all over. I got some people that I have tracks with that haven't come out yet, but I just can't. And actually Dese is on one of them too. But I can't say anything until they come out because I don't want to like jinx anything. But they're in the can, like done, with some pretty dope artists that people know. So
Very dope. Big D's, what are you working on outside of working with Mike?
Well, I got a bunch of projects out with Chef Bogey. Shout out to him. Actually, we got another one that's probably just about finished. And then I'm always working with my guy Chow. I just put out an album with Confidence. We got a vinyl for called Kumo Dese.
fire.
I think the album I was really excited for No Respect too, but now that that's released, I got an album pretty much, maybe 2 tracks away with V Knuckles out of I don't know if you're familiar with MBS, Natural Born Spitters, but me and him have a album together that we probably got like 1 track to finish up.
Very, very dope. Big shout out to Jerry Graham for linking us tonight, this evening. Before we get out of here, can you guys shout out your social media and where we can also find that No Respect too?
Oh,
Go
all
ahead,
right. No Respect 2 you can find on all streaming platforms. So it's No Respect 2 by Big Dese and Mike Martinez. If you want to purchase it directly from us, it's on my Bandcamp, mikemartinez.bandcamp.com. And shout your socials, sir.
So Dese 100, Dese 100 on Instagram, and then I'm Big Dese everywhere else: TikTok, YouTube. Dese, Big Dese. That's it.
Very dope.
I'm at Beats by Mike Martinez on pretty much everything.
Before we get out of here, any last words for your supporters?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Keep listening. We got more coming.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Thank you guys for joining me this evening. That is Big Dese. That is Mike Martinez. Appreciate you guys. Anytime you guys got some new projects, please come back. Let's get them out to the masses. Let them know that there is still some dope hip hop in this world. Like I said, I'm Jones Sin-seer. Big shout out to Jerry Graham, and we'll see you guys again in the near future. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thank